Hi guys, my name is Randis. Welcome to a new episode of my art show Randis Albion. Today I want to start out by talking a little bit about digital art in general. So I've been working in the industry for really many years, and whenever I meet new people and we start talking about work in general, so whenever people ask me what I am doing, I tell them I am an artist and I'm doing illustrations, paintings, and designs. And people get interested and they're like, oh, what medium are you using? Are you painting with oil color or watercolor, or are you drawing on paper? And when I tell them that I'm painting digitally, I sometimes get the reaction something like, oh, okay, I see, yeah. I don't know, I cannot really mimic it. I don't know, you feel like something is just clicking and changing in their mindset. It's like, yeah, my little cousin is a digital artist too. Maybe you guys can jam together or something like that. It's cool. It's totally cool. I don't know. Maybe some of you made this experience as well. A lot of artists I talked with, they did, and it's don't take it personal. I don't. I think it's funny. And if you strongly care about it, you can always politely educate people and simply explain to them what you are doing. Normal people, I mean, we are all normal people. I think maybe I am normal, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm not normal. Your neighbors, for example, except you, I mean, how many concept artists do they have in their friend circle? A lot of people are simply not familiar with this type of work, and they simply make assumptions based on what they know. So many people simply assume that when you do digital art, then a lot of the heavy lifting is simply done by the computer or by the software. It's like, you fire up your computer and you start your magic program, and then you draw a circle and think of something, and then you flip the switch and bam, the art is created. Something like that. Okay, of course not exactly like that, but yeah, you know what I mean, right? So just don't take it too serious. It's nothing personal. It's just like that. People just simply don't know. Just as you cannot possibly know everything about every other job, right? So I often get asked by people about my workflow, the way I create my painting from start to finish. So today I will show you two different methods how I create digital paintings. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I do is changing the background color. I really do not like painting on a white background because it's just too bright for my eyes. Especially because most of the time I'm working in a dark environment, so a light gray works well for me. I will be using a very simple round brush with hard edges. It's a default brush in Photoshop, and there is nothing really fancy about it. But the key feature is that the opacity is controlled by the pen pressure. I usually already have a vision of what I want to paint before I get started. I reserve a certain degree of flexibility, but my main focus is on the execution of my vision rather than a more random approach. I imagine something and then I try my best to project it on the canvas using the tools available. I don't have all the little details planned out, but I have a good idea of the most important features I want to convey. For this particular method, it is very important to nail down the composition and lighting beforehand, and I usually create some simple thumbnails. And if needed, a set of reference material. Now for this simple character, I do not need reference, I will just paint it from my imagination. I start out by painting simplified shapes with a very thick brush. I focus only on the largest and most prominent features. With a very few quick brush strokes, you can already see that this will be a person, and you get a basic idea of the proportions I'm going for. Knowing the location of the light source is very important for this process, because what I'm basically doing is just painting in the shadows. In this case, the light is coming from top, and if I were to change it, I would have to paint it completely differently. As I progress, you can slowly see more features of this character taking shape. Note that I'm still mostly using a very thick brush. However, you can see that where the brush strokes overlap, they do create darker shapes and edges. I use it to create details, sharper edges and texture. This would not work with a thick soft brush. You can also see that more and more soft gradients start to emerge as I'm blending the shadows. Many people think that using a soft brush is best to create clean gradients, but it's really all about opacity control. What I really like about this method is that every brush stroke I make already goes towards the creation of the final image, as opposed to a line work that merely serves as a helper to illustrate the shape boundaries and then usually completely disappears in the final image. Please don't get me wrong, I'm talking about some very specific styles only. Of course, it is entirely possible, depending on the style, to incorporate the line work into the final results. Okay, this character is still pretty rough, but for the purpose of this demo, it will do the job. You get the idea, so I just leave it as is. Now for the second method, I usually start by creating a quick and rough line work, which I then clean up by painting a more fine and clean line work on a new layer. But to save time, I'll be using the first head as a base instead. As opposed to the first method, where I was painting the shadows, this line work serves to outline and create boundaries between the shapes. This line work usually does not indicate the light source and shadows. It is not the same type of line work I would do for comic style. The only purpose of this line work is basically just being a placeholder. It is very useful for creating roughs for clients, while giving me enough flexibility to experiment and apply changes easily. Designing a character with the first method, while still being in the rough stage, I merely hint the details, while with this method I already give them a more solid shape. If I, for example, were to paint a complete character, I would need to spend a lot more time to paint in the shadows to give his arm enough shape and detail with this method, while with this method it would only take a small number of strokes, and if I were to change the pose of the arm, it would be a lot faster and easier this way. This style also gives me a lot of freedom experimenting with light sources, as opposed to the first method where I would need to repaint a lot. If I don't like the light, I can simply delete the layer and with only a small number of strokes paint in a different shading. I use this style mostly when I do concept art, as it is very flexible and allows me to create results rapidly. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again. And in my next video I will be showing how I paint a more complex illustration from start to finish. And yeah, if you enjoy my video, please subscribe, and I see you around. Also, feel free to leave me a comment, leave me some suggestions what you would like to see in my art channel, what you would like me to paint. Feel free to propose some characters or whatnot. And yeah, if you have any questions, no, fuck that. Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope to see you again. If you like my video, please subscribe. And in my next video I will be showing how I create a more complex illustration from start to finish. So yeah, I see you then. Also feel free to leave me some comments and suggestions. Tell me what you would like to see in my art channels. Tell me what kind of characters you would enjoy seeing getting painted or whatnot. Yeah, just keep in touch.